Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We have another significant severe weather outbreak likely today with giant hail and strong tornadoes, the main modes of severe weather, followed by intense damaging winds, then flooding rains across the southern plains over this Mother's Day weekend. How much rain can you expect? And severe weather returns into late May with possible classic severe weather setups. We'll get into these details and much more later on in today's video. But going back to yesterday, it was a very active day on the severe weather front. We had 11 reported tornadoes. This number could be growing, as well as 24 wind reports, 50 hail reports, 12 of those being over 2 inches in diameter, for a total of 85 severe weather reports going all the way back to your Wednesday, May 10th, with the densest of the severe weather across eastern Colorado and northwestern Kansas from your Wednesday. But as we go into today, we have a new low pressure system developing down here across the Front Range and moving into the western high plains, and this will be the focal point for intense severe weather later on today. The Storm Prediction Center has already put out an enhanced risk for severe storms. That's a level 3 out of 5 on the scale across west central Kansas and getting down into central Oklahoma. This does include the Oklahoma City metro area and then on up there toward Garden City, Kansas. So we definitely have a threat for some significant severe weather, but we also see that extending farther north with a slight risk in the yellow across Nebraska and into South Dakota, with a marginal risk even farther north from there. But going here ahead to some of the hazards we can expect from the severe weather, we do have a threat for some significant hail across south central Kansas, getting into central and western Oklahoma. These hailstones could be over 2 inches in diameter, and I'm more concerned about a strong tornado threat, those EF2 or stronger type of tornadoes across southern Kansas and then getting down into central Oklahoma, including the Dodge City, Kansas area, down into Oklahoma City and the Lawton Fort Sill, Oklahoma region as we go through this afternoon. But if you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel and you like detailed weather breakdowns on North America, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics, now is the time to press the subscribe button down below. It's absolutely free, and you get all of these detailed weather breakdowns each and every morning at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time on this channel. And it's also very important to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. The more likes we get, the more people that are informed about the severe weather and the weather forecast ahead. So I definitely appreciate all of the likes out there. But moving forward to the timing of today's storms, the crucial timing here at the noon time frame, we have thunderstorms across eastern portions of Colorado and extending off the Front Range into southwestern Kansas, getting into western Oklahoma. These thunderstorms could be producing some hail, maybe some damaging winds through the noon time frame, but I'm more concerned about late afternoon into the early evening, especially from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. If you live in south central Kansas, down through portions of western and central Oklahoma, I do want you to be on high alert for the potential for hail over 2 inches in diameter, strong violent tornadoes possible, and the threat for some intense damaging winds over 60 and 70 miles per hour. That will continue to progress farther east, with supercells continuing to merge into more of these intense squall lines farther to the east into eastern Oklahoma. We also have to watch out for some hail up here into Nebraska during the evening and the overnight hours, and then going into your Friday morning at 6 a.m., we have some ongoing storms progressing farther east, the Fort Smith, Fayetteville region into northwestern Arkansas, possibly some hail and damaging winds by 6 a.m. on Friday. Otherwise, some hail producers up across the northern plains from South Dakota down through Nebraska, western Iowa could be possible through your Friday morning commute. But as we go into Friday, that surface low pressure system develops farther to the north and east across portions of west central Nebraska, and this will carry more instability farther northward, wrapping around the eastern side of that low pressure system, with the strongest of the instability down here across the Arklatex and the southern plains, particularly from the Red River on southward here into Texas. And that is exactly where we have a slight risk for severe storms. The first slight risk up here to the north with association with the surface low pressure system across southeastern South Dakota, eastern Nebraska, getting into central and western Iowa, down there toward toward the Kansas City region, and then a secondary slight risk in the yellow from the Red River into central and southern Oklahoma down in towards west central Texas, with the stronger instability farther south. And that is exactly where some of the significant hail of 2 inches or larger in diameter will reside, where that stronger instability reservoir will be able to set up across the southern plains. And as we go up to the north, though, we do have a little bit more of some enhanced shear in the 700 millibar layer, the low-level jet will be much stronger up here across portions of Kansas, getting into Nebraska. So from Omaha down through portions of Wichita there and Kansas City. I'm more concerned about that low-level jet farther north, and that is where the tornado threat will maximize with a 5% shading across eastern Nebraska, getting into western Iowa, northwestern Missouri, into northeastern Kansas. But we also have a slight chance of an isolated tornado or two down into southeastern Kansas, eastern Oklahoma, and down into west central Texas as well, still with a stronger instability farther to the south. So timing this out, 7 o'clock in the morning commute on Friday, just some showers and storms, mainly general garden variety storms across the board, but I suppose there could be some hail producers up near the low pressure system itself into portions of South Dakota, Nebraska, and western Iowa. But going through the noon time frame, not too much has changed, just seeing some leftover residual showers and storms from your Thursday night into your Friday time frame. But as we go through peak daytime heating, we're going to be watching out for these isolated to scattered supercells developing across the Great Plains here, and these storms could be packing a punch, especially with southward extent where the stronger instability will reside through your 6 p.m. time frame on Friday. And this will start to develop more of a squall line or a QLCS line of storms down across portions of Oklahoma into west central Texas. This will carry more of a damaging wind and hail threat versus a tornado threat, but we still have to watch a couple storms up here into the late evening, early overnight hours across portions of Iowa into northwestern Missouri, especially the southern side of that line there toward Kansas City for some spin-up tornadoes through the midnight time frame. But as we go into Saturday, the main surface low will be up across southwestern Minnesota, but a new low pressure system will develop down here across the panhandle of Texas into eastern New Mexico on Saturday. And that's where we'll have more severe storms with a marginal to slight risk across portions of Texas, Oklahoma with a slight risk down toward the Rio Grande Valley, and we have a slight risk up into central Iowa right around the Des Moines region. So we'll continue to watch that going through Saturday. But over top of that system, we're going to have a building ridge of high pressure all across North America, especially into Canada and the northern United States. Underneath that, we're going to have more pressure falls, so that does mean a trough will sneak in underneath of this ridge and produce some unsettled weather beginning on Saturday across Texas Hill Country, and that continues largely into Mother's Day on Sunday with the ridge building farther north with the heat, and underneath that some pressure falls, and that trough does continue to meander across the southern plains. So with that said, first looking at the temperatures on Saturday, May 13th, the heat will be building. As I mentioned, the ridge will be building, so across the west coast we got the heat, across the east coast we got the heat building with temperatures in the 70s and the 80s. A couple 90s can't be ruled out, especially there into the Carolinas, all the way back westward towards Mississippi. And then going into Sunday, Mother's Day itself, the heat will be on across the southeast. Temperatures will be widespread upper 80s to low 90s, but the rain cooled air across the upper Midwest, the Great Plains, and down in towards Texas Hill Country will be there with the unsettled weather on Sunday. And taking a look at that, so starting on Saturday, widespread showers and storms across portions of central and southern Texas. The heaviest of the rains will be falling from the Panhandle down there toward the Rio Grande Valley. And then as we go through Sunday, Mother's Day, widespread soaking rains all across the state of Texas. Unless you live into eastern Texas, you definitely will be seeing a lot of heavy rain elsewhere. So definitely seeing a lot of that, and the rainfall to the north as well from time to time going through your Mother's Day weekend. Farther north though, it won't be a washout, but definitely seeing the chance for some scattered showers and storms here and there from Minnesota down through Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and into Indiana. But looking at the total rainfall accumulation over just the 2-day span of Mother's Day weekend on Saturday and Sunday, May 13th and 14th, We will be seeing some heavier rain farther to the north, but look at the swath of heavy soaking rains and beneficial rains at that across eastern New Mexico through much of Texas here down towards northern Mexico as well. And taking a look at some of these rainfall totals, we could be seeing a couple of inches of rain across southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and more spotty rain showers and storms the farther south and east you get toward the Ohio Valley. And then especially down here into Texas Hill Country, eastern New Mexico, northern Mexico, including the Rio Grande Valley area, we will be seeing some very heavy and healthy rainfall totals through the weekend time frame on Mother's Day weekend. Some of these rainfall totals could exceed 6 or 7 inches, and very well, this model could be underdoing some of the rainfall totals. We definitely could be seeing double-digit totals up to a foot of rain far south Texas, so we'll definitely be watching that. And we do have a moderate risk for flash flooding Saturday into Sunday for portions of the Rio Grande Valley there into south central Texas, with a slight risk extending farther north toward the Panhandle up there toward Amarillo and southwestern Oklahoma, with a marginal risk for flash flooding across the upper Midwest, and then that slight risk again across central and southern Texas Sunday into Monday. So definitely a high impact event, and the slight risk for flash flooding means scattered flash floods are possible, but once we get up to moderate flash flood potential, that does mean numerous flash floods are likely, and they could be very significant as well. Many streams may flood, potentially affecting the larger rivers down there across southern portions of Texas, so we definitely have to consider that as well. But going through next week, the pattern does flip just a little bit. We still have a ridge across the west, but we have more cold fronts dropping down from Canada into the northern and northeastern United States, and we'll have the trough down here across the south. So with the cold fronts moving through and the trough to the south, we'll have below normal temperatures from the northeast, the Great Lakes, down here towards portions of West Texas through the May 20th time frame, and you can see that reflected on the height anomalies. The ridge will continue to meander across western Canada and the Pacific Northwest on Tuesday, May 16th. We do have cold fronts dropping down from the north in association with the trough up here into eastern Canada, but as we go through next weekend on Saturday, May 20th, that ridge begins to slowly push farther off to the east and expand farther into the upper Midwest and the Mississippi Valley, and that does mean we'll see warmer temperatures. But looking at the dew point temperatures on Tuesday, pretty dry to the north, so I think the severe weather chances will be going down through much of next week, especially looking at next weekend. Dew points area wide across the northern United States and southeastern, southern Canada will be in the 30s to 40s, with the higher dew points residing down across portions of coastal Texas, Louisiana, and the Gulf Coast, potentially up into the Carolinas by next weekend. So I'm not really forecasting much in the way of severe weather during that May 15th through May 22nd time frame. I suppose there could be some isolated stronger storms down toward Houston, down toward New Orleans, or portions of northwest Florida from time to time, but otherwise no area is really expected for widespread severe weather outbreaks through this period. But going through the last week or so in May, things do change. So May 23rd through May 31st to the end of the month, we see that ridge really start to expand across much of North America, including the eastern United States during this period, and it does become more active once again. You can see the green anomalies from the Rockies down through the Great Plains and even the eastern seaboard as well through the last few days of May. So what does this mean for severe weather? Well, around that May 23rd, 24th time frame, give or take a day or two, we will be seeing some of this instability really start to build back across the Great Plains and as far north as Wyoming, Montana, and the Dakotas during that time frame, and we really see that stick around more or less through the last few days of May, going through around that May 31st time frame. And the highest instability values do look to reside across the Missouri Valley, the central and the southern plains by then. So by that time, my severe weather forecast from May 23rd through the 31st, it is possible we could be seeing severe weather as far north as Montana, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, and as far south there as portions of Houston. But we will be seeing more of a likely zone for severe weather across much of the central and southern plains, from southern South Dakota through Nebraska, Kansas, Kansas, getting into Oklahoma, and potentially northeast Texas, western Arkansas, and western Missouri once again. Places like Lincoln, Nebraska, Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City, and then getting down to Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and potentially as far south as the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We will be fine-tuning this in the coming days, but that is where the classic severe weather setups will be, getting back into the Great Plains by the end of May. So we'll continue to monitor that as it does get closer. Well, if you want to follow me on Twitter for additional weather forecast updates, be sure to hit the description down below and follow me on Twitter at hweather420. I definitely appreciate it. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today's video each and every morning with all of the new subscribers out there, all the old subscribers. Thank you for being so supportive of this channel. Be sure to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Thursday, everybody, a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next video.